So before we proceed the etiquette, I allow everyone to talk, but please keep your mics on mute. Send the questions through the Q&A, and we will have intermittent stops to answer your questions. On that note, allow me to start sharing the screen and introduce the IEEE Silicon Valley chapter for the Consumer Technology Society. As you know, the agenda for today is we will do a quick introduction. Then Tom and Joseph will create a presentation and cover the CES 2021 download, and then we'll open it for Q&A. We might run over an hour, so that's okay. The webinar is scheduled for 1 hour 30 minutes. During meetings, you can post pictures, leave comments, use your social media, use IEEE, and just have at it. The 2021 can someone please unmute? Oh, it's okay. 2021 chairs are on the screen. I am a chair. Beth Bachatara is a co-chair. Aziz is a vice chair. Pat is a secretary treasurer. Joseph is a marketing chair, and Joseph Weiss is a webmaster. Krishna is a co-treasurer. We are still looking for volunteers, especially someone who wants to take on the role to help us with organizing the events, create a marketing outreach. That would be wonderful. The next society meetings, which are scheduled, and we will announce the speakers shortly, will be February 25th and March 25th. This is a quick poll for everyone. Do you know how many IEEE members are right now on the poll? So just raise your hand. Okay, thank you. 3, 4, okay, wonderful. Put your hand down. Now, how many people are Consumer Society members, Consumer Technology Society members? Wow. Wonderful. Thank you so much for support. Now, the call to action is we would like to invite you to become Computer Technology Society members. The membership is $200 a year. Students are $32 a year. There is also affiliate membership as well, and some other goods. If you know someone who wants to be recruited, there is an award system, and for each professional member, you get $15 back. For each professional recruited to electronic membership, you have $5, and student gets $2, 15, and 5 accordingly. The Consumer Electronics magazine and Consumer Society magazines are actually have a wealth. Let me see. Someone raised the hand. No? I don't see who raised the hand. Okay, check. Okay. Let me continue. We also would like to do the speakers and suggestion topics, if possible. There is some job opportunities. If you would like to share, please send it over. If someone is looking for a job, please send it as well. And let me go to the topic of our discussions and who is the speakers today. The speakers today is Joseph Wei, who is the Managing Director of the Technology Ventures. Joseph is a Managing Director of and Management Advisory Company for the Tech Ventures. It's a global corporation company which supports global corporations and startups. He previously co-founded Lab 360, a hardware incubator that provided investment, mentorship, and business acceleration for early-stage startups. Joseph held also held executive positions at Inventec, NSC, STI, and DEX. He's a senior member of IEEE, past chair of Santa Clara Valley IEEE section, board member and past chair of Consumer Technology Society, SCV, and the founder of IEEE Silicon Valley Startup 6. Our second speaker is Tom Coughlin, who is the president of Coughlin Associates and covers topics of digital. Tom is an analyst for digital storage and business technology. He is a consultant. He has over 38 years in data storage industry with engineering and management positions at several companies. Coughlin Associates consults, publishes books and market and technology reports, and puts on digital storage oriented events. He is a regular storage and memory contributor to Forbes.com, an M&E organization website. He is an IEEE fellow, past president of IEEE USA, and an active with SNIA, SMTP. And if you are looking for more information to find about Tom, you can go to his website. And the topic, like I mentioned, for today's discussion is CES 2021 download and what happened at CES 2021, trends, innovation, and more. On that note, I'll stop the presentation, and I would like to pass the floor to Tom.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks, folks. So I'm going to talk to you about some of my observations from the virtual CES this year. Very different having an online event versus the physical events. The physical events, you could wander around through aisles and aisles, acres of exhibits and find really interesting, unusual, and fanciful things there, but that wasn't an option this year. I also, with regard to digital storage, I noticed that there's many companies who have a presence at the CES, either directly with an exhibit or they have hotel suites where they bring people in and talk to them. And there were many of them that weren't participating, but there were some companies there. And so I'm going to give you some insights on what I picked up with regard to digital storage, memory, and other things. And this includes, in addition to the virtual Consumer Electronics Show, also at least one thing from the virtual IEEE International Conference on Consumer Electronics, which happened also just before the Consumer Electronics Show. And we'll talk about, again, storage and memory, but also some other things that I found interesting as we go along. So, just to get started, basically the game consoles, which mostly that's Sony's PlayStation and the Xbox, though there are other products out there, they basically have gone solid state. They also, both game consoles also have optical drives playing ultra high definition Blu-ray discs, the latest generation, but they use internal NVMe SSDs. The PlayStation 5 offers a 5.5 gigabyte per second with their storage, while Microsoft Series X offers 2.4 gigabytes per second. And basically, Sony did that by an internal SSD that they basically customized the interface for that. And as a consequence of that, though the Microsoft Series X offers a USB expansion slot, the PlayStation does not. So there's some interesting things there with regard to storage for gaming systems. Also, thumb drives or USB sticks. There's many of those out there. And again, this is with a virtual exhibit, so it's not like I could wander around and take pictures of really odd ones that you'd find at a typical CES. They have different form factors, performance, and security features. There's some that actually have a little keypad, essentially, to enter a security code. Some offer dual interfaces. There's a picture here on the lower right-hand side of a verbatim one that has USB and Lightning connections on it. And the ones pictured here are from Verbatim, which is actually part of CMC Magnetics out of Taiwan, and also SanDisk, which is part of Western Digital. There was Kingston had a what they called a workflow station there, and an interesting thing actually about this CES is there's been a trend to have both enterprise and professional sort of products in addition to totally consumer-oriented products. This one kind of gets into that a little bit. They call this their workflow station product. The workflow station, it's got these holes in it, and this you see that little unit in the front lower right-hand side there. That's called a reader, and it plugs into the workflow station dock. I've often called these kind of things toasters. There's also versions of these where people can plug, say, an SSD or a hard drive directly into a device with nothing surrounding it, but it just plugs in an interface at the bottom of the holes. But it's meant to serve customers such as content creators who need to transfer videos, photos, and audios from multiple sources at once. It's a USB 3.2, and it can be used as these little readers can be used standalone. They have their own USB-C connector on it, or you can plug it into the dock. The readers provide USB mini hub, SD a card, or micro SD card reading capability, UHS-2 and UHS-1 cards as well. And it works with the Windows and the Mac operating system. So I thought this was an interesting device that was showing up there. Memory cards, of course, of various sorts, flash-based memory cards. A few companies were showing their products there. Verbatim they had their catalog there. They don't make flash themselves, so they're buying the flash from somebody else. Kingston, there should be a G on there, by the way, also refreshed its Canvas series memory cards and introduced the faster UHS-2 memory cards as their Canvas Plus. USH2, that should be UHS2, excuse me, featured high data rates for 4K, 8K video capture. Android devices, action cameras, and drones. And I might point out that there's going to be a lot more 8K devices out there. There's 8K displays, and people were showing those, sometimes OLED, sometimes more conventional LED technologies. And also a lot of 8K capture devices showing up even on smartphones nowadays. So the higher data rate required to be able to service these products requires a faster flash memory devices to go into that. So here's some examples of these products here, the UHS-2 in particular. There were SSDs, of course, for a lot of consumer applications where they're looking at a more portable size. With an SSD, you're not constrained on the same kind of form factor as you had with hard disk drives, because basically it's a bunch of chips on a board. So the M.2 SSD is a popular form factor. Here's some examples here of M.2 SSDs. There's a Verbatim product there. Again, I'm including that because they had them in their catalogs, which is a Gen 3 and Gen 4 PCIe NVMe M.2 SSD. Read speeds up to 3 gigabytes per second, write speeds at 2.9 gigabytes per second. Write speeds are usually lower than read speeds because writing on a flash memory goes through a race write cycle, and therefore it's slower. Also, there's a Kioxia PCI Generation 4 NVMe SSD shown here. The storage capacity is up to 4 terabytes. It offers twice the sequential read speed and approximately 1.6 times the sequential write speed of PCIe Gen 3 based their prior generation M.2 NVMe SSD. Now, the PCIe, basically every generation they've been doing recently, they basically double the data rate per line in the PCI spec. NVMe 4 is out there, NVMe 3 basically are common, NVMe 5 is becoming more common, and I'm sorry, PCIe 3 and 4 are common. PCIe 5 is showing up now in products, and 6 is basically some early qualification work in those areas, which of course then will provide faster NVMe data rates that run on the PCIe. Kingston was also showing their generation 4 PCIe, which they called Ghost Tree, and you can see that on this picture here. It's an 8-channel SSD. They're targeting, which is going to be available a little bit later this year, and they're targeting that would be provide speeds of 7 gigabytes per second read and write, so pretty symmetrical read and write, and ranging up to 4 terabytes in capacity. Kioxia, which used to be the Toshiba memory SSD part of Toshiba, but now it's spun off as an independent company. They were showing some NAND flash-based products. These included ball grid, UFS, ball grid array type devices, managed UFS and eMMC flash. This is single level cell NAND and scalable 3D 4-level and 3-level cell QLC and TLC flash memory. They're supplying this companies for their various consumer products. They had an infographic about the role of flash memory in connected IoT devices for consumer, industrial, agricultural, and civic applications. You can see some examples. The 3D NAND that Kioxia makes is they call BICs. So these are single chip BICs flash devices on the upper, to the upper right there, showing various technologies that got available. A lot of these are ball grid array and similar type devices that would be embedded in, say, a consumer product. They were also showing their MX Express PCIe NVMe based small form factor SSD, which is about the size of a small SD card, which is designed for compact, embedded, and removable storage. So it's a Gen 3 by 2 NVMe 1.3B device, capacities up to a bit over a terabyte. And they said that JEDEC standardization is underway on this device. It actually has a little bed it sits into that you fasten it down, but it's a removable memory device, another option for consumer technologies, and an NVMe device, which therefore can use PCIe Express and provides very fast storage data rates as a consequence of that. Samsung, on their website, they had a lot. Samsung actually had a big presence at the 2001 CES. They had a lot of focus on their C labs. And they had both what they called an internal and external C lab. Basically, it's product collaboration activities on a number of different technologies. They had one storage product that they were showing there, and that was an update on a prior generation SSD going from the 860 to their 870 EVO, and introduction of their QVO, which basically is a 4-level cell flash, 4 bits per flash level cell. It's a SATA consumer 2.5-inch form factor hard disk drive. It uses 3-level, the EVO drive uses 3-level 3D NAND flash, and the QVO or QVO uses 4-level or quad cell flash, 3D flash. EVO is available up to 4 terabyte capacity, while the QVO has up to 8 terabyte capacity. And they say that the 870 series is up to 30% higher sustained write performance compared to its predecessors. And it has a 5-year limited warranty, while the QVO has a 3D limited warranty. And that's probably because quad level cells, as you increase the number of bits per cell, the endurance of the flash memory declines. And so they're lowering the warranty. And they probably also, I believe, would have a lower total write, total bits written endurance spec that would be lower for the 4-bit per cell versus 3-bit per cell products. There were some external storage devices out there. Kingston, we mentioned before, they had an external USB 3.2 SSD going from 500 gigabytes to 2 terabytes with data transfers up to 2 gigabytes per second. We have a picture of that just to the right. Other World Computing, or OWC, had some external storage products. One was this Envoy Pro FX portable SSD. It's in the upper right-hand side of this image here. It supports up to 2.8 gigabytes per second data rates. It's also dust, drop, and waterproof. And they had another interesting product here, which is the, though probably not for consumer applications per se, which is the OWC U.2 shuttle in the lower right-hand side. It's actually a 3.5-inch form factor to go in a 3.5-inch drive bay, and it combines 4 NVMe. It looks like I'm going to clean up some typos here before I give you a new copy of the presentation. It says 4 NVMe M.2 SSDs. You can see that in the lower right-hand side there, into a swappable high capacity. They're actually rated cards, memory M.2 memory cards. Sports RAID 0, 1, 4, 5, and 6 with various RAID utilities. So again, these are more prosumer or creative types, or possibly enterprise type applications for some of these drives, particularly the OWC drives. WD had what I call their 4 for 4. They were not officially in the exhibits, for instance, at the CES show, but they actually did make an announcement, a virtual announcement about that right at the time the CES show was going on, where they announced a line of 4 terabyte portable consumer SSDs during the CES, and there were SanDisk brand products. Their Extreme Portable Pro Portable SSD offers up to 2 gigabytes per second read and write speeds, has a forged aluminum chassis, which acts as a heat sink to enable higher sustained rates. Their Extreme Portable SSD, that was the Pro. The Extreme Portable SSD offers up to a little bit over 1 gigabyte per second read and 1 gigabyte per second write speeds. Features up to a 2-meter drop protection and IP55 water and dust resistance. And then the WD Black P50 game SSD, that's the one in the lower right on the image, the far right on the image to the left there, offers read speeds up to 2 gigabytes per second and provide storage expansion for PCs, PlayStation 4, not 5 though, as we said before, in the Xbox One game libraries. The My Passport SSD is the less expensive one, but it's shock and vibration resistant, drop resistant up to 6.5 feet, and comes in a range of colors with read speeds up to 1 gigabyte per second, write speeds also at about 1 gigabyte per second. So another interesting thing, there's a company called Bywin, and they actually made some announcements. They're a Chinese company. It's actually been around for 25 years. And they have made storage memory products that they've, with other people's brands on them. In fact, they manufacture under license and sell HP branded consumer storage products. But they launched their own brand of their Bywin Tech memory and storage products at the 2021 CES show. They also said they're making storage used by an established wearable technology company, and will probably be announcing a strategic partnership with a top global ICT brand, things that they said at during their press conference. So in addition to the CES, there are some other events that go on that press and analysts are invited to. They include the PepCon event and also Showstoppers. At the PepCon event this year, the USB Implementers Forum, which sets the USB standards, was talking about their USD Generation 4 or USB 4 product. There's some information here on the left-hand side giving you some idea about characteristics of USB 4, a couple versions of the USB 4 that run at 20 gigabits per second and 40 gigabits per second. And then there's a USB Type-C global device shipment projection here from IHS that they included in their presentation. The USB 4 is actually based on the Thunderbolt 4 protocol, comes from Intel, It includes 2-lane operation using existing USB Type-C cables and up to 40 gigabit per second operation over 40 gigabit per second special certified cables. And that's the branding that's shown on the left-hand side, upper left-hand side there. Also supports multiple data and display protocols, effectively share the maximum aggregate bandwidth and backward compatibility. It also has backward compatibility with USB 3.2, 2.0, and also Thunderbolt 3. USB 4 also offers up to 100 watts of power via the USB power distribution 3.0 spec. The Samsung Galaxy S20 series were reported to be the first smartphones to receive certification based on that USB power delivery 3.0 spec. Roadmap that they have for the future supports USB performance up to 80 gigabits per second. Maybe that's USB 5 coming up in the future. Kioxia again, the things we were showing before were more the consumer or industrial type products. This one shows their enterprise SSDs. They were showing enterprise-oriented products as well at the 2021 CES. We've seen some of that in the past. Pretty noticeable this time from companies that are showing their products there. They included a PCIe 4 open compute platform, or OCP, which actually was an open standards hardware group that is established initially by Facebook, but there's a lot of other people involved in it now, and they have a regular event where they talk about progress there. But this is a NVMe cloud specification enabled SSD. The form factor is called E1.S. And there's also, they were showing a high performance PCIe Gen 5, the next generation SSD, in this E3.S form factor. So you see the pictures of those on the right-hand side. I think the E3.S actually would otherwise be called a U.2 form factor. They were also promoting the company's low latency, high performance flash memory, XL flash, basically leveraging single level cell flash. The idea is that it's faster than normal flash, and therefore, and they, as well as Samsung, introduced products like this. The idea could offset some use of Intel's Optane memory by using a flash-based product versus Intel's phase change-based memory, otherwise called 3D XPoint. Kioxia also was talking about their enterprise software. They announced new additions to its QMO-scale software to bring faster NVMe over fabric storage to containers. They talked about their software-enabled flash, which requires special hardware, which would be available in the second half of 2021, as well as open source software to accompany this. It incorporates the zone namespaces capability. And the interesting thing about this software-enabled flash is it offers data placement and workload isolation that can be done at the flash and die level. So that means you can set different sort of workloads for different parts of the flash you're using. You can do latency, multi-protocol capabilities, latency control and optimization. It gives you a lot more flexibility in the ways that you can divvy up your flash memory inside of an SSD, directly accessed at the die level, and even within the die level. And as a consequence, it gives you a lot more tools for doing virtualization and other types of abstractions in sharing resources between these flash memory devices and the compute nodes that are using them. So I thought that was another very interesting thing to be aware that's going on. Quantum, mostly known for its enterprise products, has had for a few years now, and they were showing this in their virtual booth at the CES. There are series storage units, and there's a sort of a showing one in operation. It's in-vehicle storage for storing automotive sensor, GPU, cameras, and also process data for autonomous vehicle development work. You can see a sort of exploded view of the R series product on the lower right-hand side there. It can include, it's got a 12-volt power supply, which is common in cars. It allows room for other it's fairly compact, allows room for other electronic equipment in a development vehicle. It's a removable magazine that can contain either 2.5 or 3.5 inch SSDs or hard drives. Allows also RAID 5 or 6 to be able to get replication of data for data protection. Data stored on these magazines can be uploaded into a StoreNext environment, which is the asset management system that Quantum sells, asset management and control system they sell. It's got dual 10 gigabit Ethernet ports, and using StoreNext Flex Sync feature, you can quickly upload the content from the R series into a shared storage environment, which is where you'd probably be doing a lot of your AI training, machine learning training, and other operations. There's a company, when I go to these shows, you find companies that you haven't heard of before. There's one called SwissVault, which had something they called their Space Odyssey, ODYSEE, which is a 25 terabyte NVMe solid state storage network server, Ethernet server. You can see some of the information about it on the right hand side. So I thought that was interesting and something that I hadn't seen before. Also, HL data storage from Korea, which is an interesting amalgam between LG and Hitachi, was showing an optical drive with equipped data hubs. So it's an optical drive, but also a hub where you can plug various things in there for a computer. So a storage device, it's also a hub. This is a version with an optical storage. And now we're getting into some of the interesting stuff that that relates to the use of things that are generating a lot of storage. And one of these is volumetric video. Volumetric video has been around been in development for a while, but at the 2021 IEEE ICCE conference, there was an interesting series of talks by Intel on their take on next generation video applications on consumer integrated and discrete client GPUs. So they've got their own graphics architecture, which they called X to the E. It was actually introduced by Intel in 2020. The figure to the left here shows a high-level architecture of this X to the E GPU, including cache shared via a memory fabric and a division of video processing via 3D compute slices and also media slices, various ways of breaking up the video content. So in a demonstration of that technology, the person's actually viewing was able to see different content on a screen by moving his head. And they used head tracking to observe where he was moving his head. And then they'd render an image reflecting the change in apparent position based upon where the viewer put his head at. So I thought that was an interesting demonstration. It was done real time. There was some delay, but not really bad. And volumetric video, as many of you probably know, is where you collect a lot more information on all of the reflected light in an area that gives you a capability of creating more realistic content, potentially to create even a holographic type of display technologies. And that leads us into the next slide here, that Canon actually, they have a Videometric Video Studio in Kawasaki, Japan, 690 square foot a place. They use 100 cameras to film, scan, and create virtual representations of Japanese skateboarders. This is a demonstration they were showing, doing their routines. And then that was rendered on the location of the Love Park skateboarding field in Philadelphia, which is actually demolished in 2016. You can see some pictures of the green screen the skateboarders working on a green screen background to the right, the upper right, and then example of that rendering that upon Love Park skateboarding field in Philadelphia there in the lower right. So these are 100 4K cameras. They would simultaneously shoot videos at up to 60 frames per second, and they're able to record up to 10 people simultaneously. The videos are then processed. The data is combined together. It basically creates a 3D representation of the skateboarders. That's how they used it. And that enabled them to do this video playback from any possible, even very incredible camera angles, and any path that a skateboarder may take. And the latency was only 3 seconds. And again, with the green screen background, the footage can be rendered with any actual background or location. And so I thought that was an interesting use of volumetric video. which when it's introduced with all those cameras, with all those views and depth, and especially if you go to higher frame rates and try to capture more of that content, is going to really drive up the storage and memory requirements for video applications. Just going on that same tangent, there was ETRI, which is a research outfit in Korea, was showing some immersive content, including a floating hologram projection that you can see a picture of here. So it's a table with a floating hologram. This actually is an illusion that people have been doing for many years. This is a real-time video display that they were showing here. I couldn't see it myself. All I could see because of wasn't out there physically, but we were able to get some images of what this looks like. And to the left, you can actually see a little bit about what this holographic table looks like. LG was also showing a transparent OLED TV. This actually got some press. I just thought I'd throw it in here because I thought it was interesting. It slide down into a piece of furniture when not in use. And they were talking about using this as a display screen that actually gave you some physical isolation from somebody on the other side, which might be useful during, for instance, a pandemic. I've got a few more slides just to finish up in my part. Persistent memory, basically there's new memory is going to show up in especially in embedded consumer devices, and that's because flash, NOR flash, is not able to scale. DRAM, for instance, consuming power. And so there's work to do to replacing, for instance, SRAM and NOR flash in particular, possibly someday with SRAM, with these new memory technologies. These include MRAM, resistive RAM, phase change memory, and also ferroelectric memory. Just to show on the embedded MRAM side is that SRAM has 6 transistors, MRAM only, traditional STT MRAM only has 1, and therefore you get a considerable space savings, the amount of memory you can put in a given amount of die on the right-hand side there. It also uses less power, for instance, using MRAM than, for instance, SRAM plus an E-flash, for example. There's some devices that are out there now. This one is an MBEAC, which is their Apollo SoC for ultra-low power intelligent endpoint IoT devices, and they had up to 2 megabytes of MRAM memory in this embedded device. And another one that's shown up recently, by the way, these are both made by TSMC. There's a company called Newman, which is a deep neural network accelerator chip that's they're working with NASA on using this for deep space missions, for artificial intelligence controlled deep space missions. So that also is using MRAM. Part of the reason is its non-volatility and also radiation hardness. Another interesting thing, ST Micro had been talking about it for a while, but at the CES show, they were actually showing their product, processor unit with their version of a phase change memory. They actually have some history behind them and Micron and Intel, that they all sort of start off with the same phase change memory stuff. And then, of course, Intel turned that into their Optane memory, and ST Micro is now introducing this into some specialized processors, their Stellar 32-bit automotive microcontroller unit in particular. So thought that was interesting also from this emerging memory point of view. Finally, TSMC in 2020, they've been announced that they're introducing both resistive RAM and MRAM as non-volatile memories to include in embedded devices of various sorts, from automotive to IoT applications, for example. And this is just from a report that a colleague and I do, showing projected growth of DRAM and NAND flash, and realize this is a log scale on the left-hand side, and growth in this 3D crosspoint, which is the phase change memory and MRAM, out to 2030. And this is just information on the report that we base this on. And yeah, thanks. And I don't know if you'd like to take questions at this point, or because I'm probably have to get off at the top of the hour, if you want Joseph to do his presentation now. Hello, Olga. Okay, Joseph will do his presentation.
I'm so sorry. I was talking to myself. The slides will be downloadable. There is a question on a Q&A. The slides will be downloadable, and the website will be shared to all attendees. And the link is, Joseph, can you put a link into the answer?
I thought I already did. It wasn't shared. It was only shared with the person who posted, because I wasn't sure if it's live or text.
There is one question there that's asked. I think it's just making a remark. Lightning is the Apple interface used on iPhone and iPad products. That is correct.
Can you see my my answers, Tom?
Answer?
No.
I do. Yes, I see them.
Oh, you do?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's already posted, Olga, the
Okay.
link to the Consumer Technology Society.
The Douglas says he doesn't see it. Joseph, can you
Wait a
answer
second.
to that question?
Okay, let me copy and paste. See if I can copy and paste.
Yeah, and I will put the same note into the chat so we can all see it.
Hang on one second. Yeah,
And while we're doing that, Joseph, would you like to proceed with the presentation?
hang on one second.
And Tom, thank you very much for doing it. I think it was extremely informative. I'm very passionate about storage, so for me it was like, yay!
Oh, very good. And I know it's not the same as it usually is. If people have more questions, they can get a hold of me at tom@tomcoughlin.com. And also, I noticed a few typos when I was giving my presentation, so I'll send you an updated version that you can post.
Okay, wonderful. So we will post it on the website. So the website is did you post?
Okay, can you, it's IEEE.org/SCVCE. So Santa Clara Valley's Consumer Electronics.
One more time, IEEE.
.org/SCVCE. So Santa Clara Valley Consumer Electronics, SCVCE.
Okay, I cannot find it.
Let me go
Why
through
don't
my
I-
presentation now. I'll put it back because I cannot do both. Either I present or I answer the Q&A. So,
Okay.
okay.
So why don't we keep that question for the end of the presentation? That will make the things easier.
Yeah. So
another question for
yeah.
Tom.
Nothing is now the first page. You can see my slide, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So anybody who has a question, they can send me email directly at joseph.way@IEEE.org.
Right. And I will post the link as well once Joe starts presenting. And the next question is Tom still there or he dropped off? Is something still going on SSD now the new normal?
I'm still here. I was just typing an answer to that one, but I'll just say it out loud.
You can answer live.
Yeah, it depends upon the technology. The particular case, I think, where there was a fairly short life was a QLC product with 4-level cell. The more levels per flash cell, the lower the endurance of the flash memory. So I think the reflection of the warranty has a lot to do with that endurance specification. So it depends upon the technology being used in the SSD. And the application, I think you may find it. So depending upon how many, what they're specifying for the number of bytes that you'd write before you'd wear it out, or how long, it depends again upon the technology being used in the application. Hope that helps.
Any other questions? Okay, let's proceed to the next section of the presentation from Joseph on CES download. Joseph?
So you can see my opening slide, right? Just want to double check. Okay. Welcome everyone. My name is Joseph Wei. I was the past chair for the Consumer Technology Society, and I'm the webmaster. And then Tom Coughlin and I are both on the board of the Consumer Technology Society. And we used to go to the CES show in Las Vegas every year. And the main thing is there are lots of small companies that have very innovative technology for consumer technologies that were not covered by the mainstream media. So we try to get there, walk around, and get the real interesting information to share with you. But this year, everything is digital, as you see on the graphic. CES 2021 is all digital. So before, and this is my email, joseph.wei@IEEE.org, and you're welcome to send me any questions you have afterwards. Just a little upfront disclosure is that companies that I cover here are not related to any of my own business, and the comments are strictly of my own view and does not reflect IEEE and any business entities I'm associated with. These are all selective highlights because it used to be about 4,000 to 5,000 exhibitors in the past, and this year I think it's down a little bit. So there's no way I can cover, and Tom and I can cover every possible really great product from different companies. And I'll be happy to provide a more detailed and custom presentation related consumer technology at a different time. Just a little bit of background. CES 2020, there's over 170,000 attendees, 110,000 domestic and 60,000 international, with 4,500 plus exhibitors. And unfortunately, due to the pandemic, that has to be now placed online. And this is also because Tom and I have been giving this talk for many years, so I used to keep track of the number of steps I took. So usually it's around 20 something, somewhere between 16,000 steps to 23,000 steps. So there's a lot of walking through the CES show to pick up some of these key products for you. But this year, because it's all digital, unofficially the number is about 100,000 people still registered, but the number of exhibitors is down to about 1957, and I'll show you how I found that out a little bit later. And so the number of steps I took this year is 0. So I didn't have to walk, saved me a lot of leg time. But the number of hours that I had to do the virtual booth visiting actually was quite significant. I think I haven't really keep real good track, but it's at least 40 hours. So this is how, a little bit background. So for the people who didn't get to go, hopefully we resume to normal for 2022. In September, the organization CTA that put together CES show will open up for free registration for qualified people. And then that's you don't have to pay anything to go into see the exhibits. And then this year, they only gave out the free complimentary exhibit to alumni, and then they have early registration for $149, and then regular registration, I think it's $449. So for people who are interested to join next year, then you kind of check the website around the September time if you want to sign up for a free registration. I don't know if they're still going to honor that going into next year. So when you log in with your account, and this is what I saw, 1,957 exhibitors, and then you can go into refine result because otherwise it won't be just 40 hours to go through. It's almost 2,000 exhibitors, so you can sort by keywords. And so before I go into the wearable and IoT, I just want to show this little video of the rollable phone from LG. I think this is really incredible.
Hello, and welcome to LG press conference at CES 2021. Enjoy your all digital CES. Take care.
Okay, let me find out. Okay, let me move this. So it's really incredible, this rollable phone, to see how it actually works. So my topic will be the same for the last few years, when my focus is around wearable technology and also IoT, Internet of Things. One thing that really caught my attention is this wristband for the Apple Watch, made by a company called Mudra Band. So the band itself actually has built-in battery, is connected to the Apple Watch through Bluetooth, and it has something very unique called the surface nervous conductance sensor. That is their proprietary technology to allow you to do gesture. When you use your phone, you don't really have to touch the touch screen. You can actually use the your fingers and different gesture to control the various function of your smartwatch. And right now it's listed for $179. And here's the URL where you can get more information. And then you can also see a video. This is a very interesting video of how the gesture control works for the wristband. So given the running short on time, I won't go into the video. Another wearable device is kind of interesting, because there's a lot of watches today also claim that they can do blood pressure monitoring, but they are using a combination algorithm of infrared sensor to calculate your blood pressure. But this device by CharmCare actually is very similar to the one by Omron, the watch by Omron, which they have the pouches on the wristband, which they inflate and be able to use that to measure blood pressure. Very similar to the traditional blood pressure cuff. This is yet another one. I don't know how many of you have paid attention. I think Google Glass started about 2014, which basically brought the attention to smart glasses to the whole industry. But this company, Vuzix, actually has been around for, I would say, at least 20, 25 years, all been in smart glasses application, but a lot of them for industrial application. And now Vuzix has come up with this smart glass, which is very consumer friendly. It's very stylish, very light. It has a very small display camera that actually display the messages onto the lens, and it's Bluetooth connected to the smartphone. And so here's the URL. You can actually see more of the detail for this particular smart glasses. They did not list any pricing at this point. Another pair of smart glasses that caught my attention is this pair of smart glasses by Active Look. Again, it's connected to your phone or your watch to take your more of your health monitoring function or data and display onto the sunglasses, so that this is more for people who are active, outdoor active. They want to know how fast they are riding the bike and how fast their heart rate is, and this is a very nice implementation. And then for the industrial application, there's this safety helmet with EEG sensing. But the helmet actually it actually is really a wearable sensor that can be clipped onto any standard size safety helmet. And it's really for risk management for people who are operating heavy machinery, prevent accident when people are drowsy or under stress or different type of conditions. So this will provide real-time monitoring of the EEG analysis, and it will basically it will alert the management people to let the person know that maybe that person should be replaced or should take a rest before they continue operating. And this is a South Korean company, and the website is here. A lot of us are under a lot of stress these days, so stress release is another main topic for various companies coming up with wearable devices to solve that problem. So Cove Wearable has what they call stress cancellation technology. So this is kind of like a wearable device that clip onto the back of your ear. and provide special vibration to the skin to initiate a natural biological reaction between the skin and the brain, and you only have to use it 20 minutes a day. There have been over 4 years of clinical study with over 3,500 participants to prove that this is safe and effective. Yeah, then this is the URL. And the next one is another healthcare device for people who are suffering with urinary incontinence. So it's a wearable device that has a little, I call it puck, and a sensor that will detect using ultrasound, non-invasive ultrasound, to detect the fullness of the bladder, to inform the person that they need to get ready to go to the bathroom, because some people who suffer from incontinence, they would not know until sometime it's already too late. And this solution is priced currently just under $400. I forgot to list the website, and I'll correct it and I'll put it back in the final slide that I post later on. Another device in the wearable space, I think there's a lot of advancement in management sensor that allows today's wearable to be much smaller in form factor and can run off the one battery in a much longer time. So this device is by a company called ActSense. It's for ECG monitoring, and one battery can last up to 11 days. It's also child-proof with IP44, and it's a one channel, 3 leads equivalent of ECG monitor. So typically you see the ECG monitor when you go into like a hospital or a clinic. It's a big machine with a lot of leads coming. But for this one, so if you need the accuracy, then you really need to use the ones with I think at least 6 leads. But this will be able to give you a monitoring for up to 11 days. And it's connected again through Bluetooth. Hello?
Hello?
Okay. So currently this product is only certified for Korea and also for Europe, so it's not available in the US yet. Go a little bit quicker. So this is a sleep breathing monitor. So there's a little face mask that tracks your sleeping apnea, snoring, sleep cycle, and movement. And it's $149. And the next product actually is a complementary product. Is a motion pillow. So it has a device that actually sends the sound or the breathing of the person, and it has 4 basically inflatable cushions underneath the pillow that will basically inflate to adjust the position of the head of the person to basically allow the person to sleep without snoring. So this is a device that using there's lately I've been looking into a technology called photobiomodulation, PBM, which is a combination of using light and it's like light using light as a therapy device. So this device actually shines LED and light in to allow and also using laser to allow better blood flow for people who are suffering from pain and deep muscle. So it has a deep muscle penetration. Here's another device kind of similar. It's also using photobiomodulation. It's non-thermal. It's near infrared light. So basically, for people who are suffering inflammation or allergy, hay fever, they can use this device put in their nostril. It pulses for 6 times, and that will reduce the inflammation for up to 24 hours. So in the past, there's a lot of breast pump. They are not really designed. Well, they're designed to be used for people in but not in a wearable manner. So this is the first one that actually women can wear them all the time doing normal work while they are collecting the milk from the mother, and it's available now online through this website for $499. Another one that's related to the baby. So it records and this little light device actually it records sleep and crying patterns of baby, and then analyze using the historical cry patterns of 150,000 babies across 150 countries to make recommendation for optimal time to wake up the baby. Another thing about the light is that rather than turn on the main light in the room, which can be very, very bright, the LED lamp can slowly increase it, and the intensity of the light to bring the baby awake in a more pleasant way. This is another one that received the CES Innovation Award, which is a speaker that you connected with in between your shower head and your shower, that is completely powered by water. So there's no separate battery or recharging required. So it has an internal battery of 2,500 milliamp for more than 20 hours of use. And it can be connected via Bluetooth through your other music playing devices. Nobi, this is a smart light. I think it's from Netherlands. It basically has the capability to use motion sensing to do fall prevention, and also measure the patterns of how the people in the room are walking, sitting, and also measure air quality, also detect intrusion and reports fire. Very, very expensive right now. It sells as a system for almost $2,500 with a $19 a month subscription. Another big thing at CES is the touchless bathroom. Nobody wants to touch the toilet or anything. So Kohler actually has a lot of displays showing that they have a motion sensing toilet that you don't have to push the lever. You just have to move, wave your arm, and that will flush the toilet. And also with the faucet. And the one on the right actually is a bathtub. It incorporates aroma and also let's see what else. So it's basically it's one of those, I forgot the name of it, for swimming pool. So it's almost like so the water basically fill up to the top, and then it has aroma, it has steam, and other type of fancy feature. So, but they did not list the price of it. So this is I think maybe close to the last slide. So this is for Bisu. This device is actually for in-home urine testing, because a lot of urine tests basically you have to now collect a sample and then send it to a lab in the hospital, or you go to a clinic and then you go to the bathroom and provide your sample, and then they take it to the lab. So this device actually can do these type of biomarker, electrolytes, hydration, ketones, pH, and urine exit. And through an app, then they can actually collect and monitor the results. So before I wrap up, here are some of the resources for consumer technologies. So we have a LinkedIn group on LinkedIn, and I'm one of the managers. So if you apply to that, I will approve for you to join. And it's a good way to network and share ideas with fellow members with similar interests. There's also a special interest group focused on startups that was started in Santa Clara Valley, and a lot of the focus is around innovation for using consumer technologies. So Consumer Technology Association, we have actually partnership with the IEEE Consumer Technology Society. And this is their website.
Licensing kind of option as well instead of the per seat license. I know that Wearabld has been working with some of the other teams inside of AWS, right? So will you guys know if this has been offered to?
So any questions? There is one question for you, Joseph. If any devices on blood glucose monitoring, maybe Apple Watch will have it.
I am not aware. AWS is my account.
So can you repeat the question, because there's somebody talking in the background?
Okay, I'm sorry. The question is, any devices on blood glucose monitoring, maybe Apple Watch will have it.
Oh, I cannot. So Apple doesn't tell me anything that they haven't announced. So you just have to listen to it. So we did have another company that is called Life Plus that came to present last year, and you can find their information, I think, on the IEEE Consumer Technology website. So Life Plus actually has developed a watch that can do continuous glucose monitoring. Again, with I think it's using infrared sensor.
Okay. Siva, does that answer your question?
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Joseph.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next question. If people type their questions here, there will be a record of it there too. Yes, there will be a record. So yes, the questions will be recorded and answered. Any other questions?
Are the slides available online for later viewing?
Yes,
Yes.
the slides will be listed just like we showed on the website and site IEEE. It's Henry who sent it out, and I want to thank you. That's the link, and you will have a video and the slides. On that note, if there are no more questions.
I just want to mention the last three organization that's on the slide I'm showing. So CTA Foundation, they are the foundation group for the Consumer Technology Association that put together the Consumer Electronics Show. So they have a focus around applying consumer technology for the seniors. And that's why I listed another organization, which is AARP. So AARP used to stand for the American Association for Retired Persons, but now they basically say, well, who retired these days? So, so that on the website we see is American Association for Rising Possibility. So they have also created an innovation lab in Washington D.C. that works with a lot of tech companies in terms of applying technology. A lot of these are consumer technology to serve the senior population. And then the last one is actually my website. So I have a link on my website tied to a lot of the information related to applying technologies towards I would say the older generation population. The Unite World Health Organization actually announced in December a new initiative by the United Nations that they're going to call the 2021 to 2030 as the decade of healthy aging. So I encourage a lot of people to start looking at how to apply some of the technology to serve people who are getting older, because I think we have a lot of capability utilizing a lot of technology, not just for the younger or the baby, also for the older generations. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present, and all these slides will be posted shortly after this meeting. And this is again my email if you have.
Hello. Okay, Joseph.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. I think we're done, right? There are more Q&A.
Guys, I would like to thank everyone for participation. I'm sorry I had some audio problems. And I want to thank everyone, and the slides, like I mentioned, will be posted and answered. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.